In this video, I'll go over the ways that I use Photoshop to develop parts of my websites and also social media graphics. Yes, you can use PicMonkey and Canva, but both of those tools are limiting. For example, Canva, you can't make images with transparent backgrounds. So if you upload it to like your website, you'll end up with a white box around the image. And then PicMonkey can be annoying because you can't save it. You have your image or whatever your creation is, you have to download it to your computer and it becomes one. All your font and your images become one. So Photoshop has so many things available to you. So when I go into Photoshop, I click Adobe Photoshop and I'm going to create a new canvas. So you just click File, New, and this is going to be a logo. Amanda Web Designs logo. So you name it, and I'll just leave it as a custom right here. You don't need to change that. You can change this to inches, centimeters, whatever you want. When you're making things for the web, pixels is a great way to size your images, because everything on the web is measured in pixels. Use RGB color because everything on the web uses RGB color. And then I always click transparent. You have to do it twice. Watch how usually this box changes and you can pick a background, but don't do that because you can put backgrounds on later. And then just press OK. So I'm doing 500 by 500 pixels and it will be a square, a blank square. So now we're in Photoshop and there are many areas. So this area here is all the toolbars, and there's even more than this, because when you click within a toolbar, for example, I use the text toolbar a lot. When you click inside, there's other tools within these tools. So this little triangle here means there's other things available within that tool. And I also use this tool a lot because this is the move tool, and so you can move things. You can cut things using these tools. You can also select and cut things using these tools. You can crop your image using this tool. You can recolor using the eyedropper tool. You can create a circular button for a website using the ellipse tool. You can create a rectangle using this tool. So those are the common tools that I use here. And then this is the foreground and the background, and you can actually switch these back and forth, and you can choose different colors that you want by just moving over here. Notice how this changed. You can make them go back and forth. So the foreground, if I wanted to make, let's say I wanted to make a circle, and I want it to be this color. Notice how that changed. So I can make a circle, and oh, it turned the other color. I want it to be purple. There we go. And so those are the tools that are available. If I want to change the size of this circle, I'm going to click this move tool, and I just click Command T, and then that will give you these little boxes, and you can move this. But when you resize, you need to make sure to click Shift as you're resizing, or else it will warp the aspect ratio. So watch. See how it kind of makes it all funky. I'm going to click File, and I don't, so when I click here, this button, I don't want to apply this. So I'm going to click, well, let's apply it. I'll click Apply. And if I don't like this, I can click File, where is it? Edit, Step Backward, and then it will go back, and you can go back as many times as you want. Now notice down here, these are your layers. This area is really, really, really important. So you can add a new layer by clicking this button, and it will create a new layer. And you can actually type in here. So maybe I would recommend naming each layer. So circle. So you can name your layers. You can also do all sorts of things like copy them. You can't, well, there's a whole lots of things you can do with your layer. You can duplicate it, you can copy it over here. So and then also this is a color library. So right now I can create a new color library by clicking create new library. Right now the colors for this document are my brand color, but I can add other colors to this as well, like black. I can click black and then add that. And let's see. So I have other colors as well. So if I click this, it goes to some fonts and some colors I've used for another logo that I've created. You can create a new library and name it. Okay, and then also you'll notice that there's these tools here. I have this character toolbar open, and this is fonts and sizes and colors and all sorts of things, you know, your paragraph margins. But when you first open Photoshop, your tools are different. And it's because there's so many tools available in Photoshop that you have to pick which ones you want in your workspace. So to do that, you click Window, and then here are all sorts of tools that you can place here. So I have the character tool is always here. It's one of my default tools that I use. And let's see, you can add other tools as well. I can add properties, and now, oh, my properties was already there. You can even move these around, and you can even move you can move these boxes around as well. See, you can change the way that it looks, and you know, move all of your, like I have my libraries up here now, and I can adjust brightness and things like that. So notice when I did that, it did this because that's changing. Well, it added a new layer. So I'm actually going to delete this layer by clicking here. Yes, delete. Yes, delete. I don't need those. But when you add different customizations, it'll pop up as a new layer. So yeah, you can add other tools here by clicking Windows, and you can add the brush tool. I don't have that one. See, and then it pops up, and you can make it smaller. And so that's pretty cool. So let's do this logo. I am going to do Command T, and now my box comes up again, and I'm going to click Shift and make this circle larger. And then I can click right in here. If I click the text, I'm going to apply this transformation, and I'm going to click the text box. And this is really, really large. So I can go over here to character and change the font size, or I can change it up here as well. And I can change the font that I want to use. So I'm going to go ahead and change this to 20, and my font is the same color as the circle. So I need to change that. So I'm going to switch these around, and now I can type within here, and it will actually type within the circle if I want it to, and it'll go the same. It'll be the same size as the circle, which is pretty cool. But maybe you don't want that. Maybe you want to just add another text box on top of it, and you want to be able to move that text box around. So if you want to do that, I'm going to delete this layer, and I'm going to add a new text box. So I'm going to click a new layer, and I'm going to make a text box here and type in Amanda, and make it bigger. That's way too big. 40, no, 30, and stretch it out a little bit, and maybe play around with some of the fonts and see what font would look best for this logo. I really like Quicksand, so I can actually pick a class of fonts. So I can pick serif, which is, it has these little cute curly edges. So these are all serif fonts. Or I can do scripty fonts, and so it will show me all my scripty fonts that are available. And so when I'm ready, when I like it, I'll just click this, and I can move the text around by just clicking it, and then I can add another text box and make sure to click on the tool that I want. Oops, nope, it went back to that layer. Let's go down here and make another text box, and then I'll click here. Oop, where'd my text box go? Okay, let me add it again. It disappeared. There we go. Okay, so web, and then I can make another, and notice how it's titling the text box without me even telling it to. That layer is still there. Let's call this one designs. And actually, I don't know where the layer is on the canvas, and so in order to find this layer, I can do Command T, and then it'll pop up. So there it is. And I'm just going to make it bigger, and oops, apply, Command T. Okay, I can't type in it. Okay, text, apply, keeps disappearing. Okay, there it is. Amanda Designs. And so this looks pretty bad. I need to make sure to, oh, it has two designs. Let me delete that one. I just clicked to delete. This designs must be a different, it must be, let's see here. So sometimes when you click the text tool, it adds a brand new layer, and that's not what I want it to do. So in this way, you know, Photoshop can be a little tricky, you know, being able to pick the correct tool. And sometimes you're like, well, why can't I do this? And it's probably because you're just not on the correct tool. And so let me just type. Another common problem is that, you know, you're on the text and it's really, really too large. And so when you type, it's not showing up because it's just so huge. So I'm going to press Enter and Command T, and hopefully I'll be able to see my text now that it's smaller. So so that is another. Oh, I created a new layer. Why can't I get to the design layer? Okay, I'm just going to delete this layer because it's annoying me, and I'm just going to create a new layer. Click here, and then make my layer. Make sure that it's, see how it disappears if it's too big. So sometimes when you type, you know, you need to make sure to so now that I already have a scripty font, so I want to pick a more of a straight font. So sans serif is just totally straight, and it doesn't have any like curves or anything. And you can actually search for different fonts by typing them in here. So I'm looking for Quicksand, and there it is, Quicksand. And this is too big, so I'll make it 25. And and put it in here, and then I have to click the layer, the web layer. So I would play around with this a lot, because making logos can be, you know, it can take a lot of time to make something look really nice. You know, I might play around with the sizes of the different fonts. Just, you know, it takes a while. So some other really awesome things about using Photoshop is that once you're ready, you can save it for web. So you can click File, Export, Save for Web. And if you want it to be transparent background, you save it as a PNG. If you want it to, notice the file size shows here, and it got really, really blurry. So I might pick JPEG high. And so, you know, when you're saving something for a website, you don't want your website to be slowed down. So you can, you know, choose different types of files. So that is another aspect of Photoshop that's really awesome. And then also there, let's see, you can rearrange the different layers by going like this. Notice all the text went away. You can make them disappear, and then you can just save. Like I could just save this if I wanted by going File, Export, Save for Web. So you can actually, you know, have a template. So for example, I'll open up something that I've created recently for my website, new portfolio. There it is. So it has all these different pictures. So when I go to TPT Life and I'll show you this area of my website called the portfolio area. So these images have to be a specific size, and they all need to be the same size. So what I did was I made all of these the same size canvas. So if I click image and canvas size, you can see what the size of the canvas is, 800 by 800. And then I just inserted new pictures onto this canvas. And you can do this with your logo if you want. You can put your logo and then a new picture or a new text box, and then save them separately. So you always have the same canvas, the same logo available, but then make different layers disappear. So, and then if I wanted to put a new picture and a new layer, so I can click here, new layer, and I want to put a new picture here. So I'll go File, Place Embedded, and I'll go look for another stock photo that I want to add to that area of my website. So I'll just pick this one, and it places it within your canvas area. So see how it's within there, and I'll go ahead and place it, and then it's here, and I can resize it by clicking Command T and then Shift and then resizing it so that it fits within this square area. So there we go. Place. And so now I can save this and put it on my site, and all of these other images are here as well. And I just can keep adding more and more and more images onto this canvas area. And then, okay, one other thing that I wanted to talk about was adding drop shadows. So for example, if I wanted to create some sort of button, so let's just use this circle, and let's pretend that I want it to be a button. So I'm going to make it smaller. So what I can do is I can right click it. no, not, I'm going to right click the layer. So I'm going to click over here. I need to apply the size, and then I can right click and I can go down to blending options. I think it is what it is. Yeah. And then I can click bevel, and so it looks like a button. I can change the way that it looks, which is really, really fun, especially if you're creating things for a website. And there's all sorts of options for you to play with. You can also change, I'm going to click off of all of these. By the way, did you notice how in the layer it shows all these different effects as you're playing around? So you can actually even make it textured, contoured, inner shadow. So it looks pretty cool. Another thing, the drop shadow, the way that you add a drop shadow is by going to layer and layer style and drop shadow, and you can add drop shadows to your image. Let's see here, blend mode. Oh, I added two. Do you see how there's a little shadow here? You can barely see it. If I added a background, you'd be able to see it. But drop shadows can look really, really nice on logos and on buttons. So there's lots and lots of things you can do with Photoshop that you wouldn't necessarily be able to do with PicMonkey or Canva with this blending options. And blending options is also, it's drop shadows right here as well. You can also change the opacity. So like if you have a stock image that you want to be a little bit lighter color so that you can put text and make the text stand out, you can do that as well in Photoshop by right clicking and then showing by going to blending options. So hopefully you learned a lot about Photoshop in this short tutorial, and you'll consider trying to use it for your business endeavors.